Hello, my name is Ben Brookman. I'm the Training Technical Support Representative for Precision Midwest. Today I'm going to talk about Trimble Access 2020. So along with Windows 10 devices, Trimble Access 2020 can be ran on the TDC 600 for Android. It's a powerful 2.2 gigahertz processor, 4 gig of RAM, 64 gig of storage, cell phone basically. Runs on Android 8.0, Google Play Store, Google Maps, 6-inch touchscreen, high capacity battery, dual cameras, 13 megapixel rear, 5 in the front, and a 3-year warranty. Trimble Access 2020 allows portrait view and landscape view for the TDC 600. And then as you see here, this is the inside screen of Trimble Access. So no longer, you don't have your favorites on the top, you have actually a flyout for your favorites. Any more information on the TDC 600, go ahead and contact one of our sales reps. They'll get you squared away. So now new features in Trimble Access 2020. Snap to toolbar. The Snap to toolbar provides a simple way to create points from line work in the map. Tap the 3-dot button and select Snap to toolbar. Select the required tool from the Snap to toolbar and then select the line, arc, polyline in the map to snap to the appropriate location. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have midpoint, endpoint, intersection, PI of arc, snap to center, snap to nearest, and then obviously clear selection. Use the points like any other point, Kogo or stakeout. To save the point on the job, just tap and hold on the map and you'll see create point and you will see the northing and easting show up. This is only when using general survey. There's a limit box now, so your SX10 or IFC model users, whether you're using a model or a scan, you can create a limit box similar to what's in TBC. Again, press the ... button and set up the limit box. There's 3 main toolbar buttons to control the 3 dimensions. You can select the up and down, the front and back, and side to side. On the right hand side, you'll see the top and bottom, but then the equals in the middle. So if you drag the equals, it will not change the, it sets that constant basically. IFC models in 2018 and 2019, they've done a lot of work since then. They've been able to add center point of a cylinder and then select surfaces to create points. You can review vertices, edges, surface attributes from the map, save points to the job. Again, create point, tap and hold on the map. You can store attributes from the map or with stake points. Select the stake curve edges, poly edges. Compute center line of pipes and cylinders, offset those polylines, and create points of on surface. Key in point, just tap and hold on the map. They have an improved selection and display of selected surface, easier to see the selected surfaces. And then, of course, tap to deselect. So here's the selection here. It was the arc piece from IFC model that's blue. And if you select on it, then you could see on the right-hand side there's a ton of attributes, and you can scroll down and see those set attributes. And then from there, if you just hold on to that model, you can create center line based on that, and then you could stake that out if needed. Again, if you wanted to, you could just pick on the surface of that model and create a point. You'll see the northing and easting there as well. IFC models are now visible with the SX10 video. This is something that's really neat. To display the IFC model from the video screen, just tap and select Settings, and then the IFC Options group, enable the overlay on video switch. So you would get something that looks like this. And then you could do field measurements and layout of the model right there from the SX10. Polylines. Trimble Access has always supported polylines in the DXF, but now you can create and save polylines to the job. Centerline of a pipe is saved to the job as a polyline. You can stake polylines much like alignments, and now polylines can be vertical. So you can now stake a distance along a polyline. Key in alignment now is key in a polyline. Stake out alignment is now a stake out polyline. Virtually the same thing, just a little different look. In Trimble Access, an alignment is a polyline. Alignments are saved as RXL files. Alignments defined in General Survey always have a horizontal component that consists of straight lines and optionally circular arcs. A vertical component is optional and consists of grades between the points. So here's what you're going to see versus what we had in 2019 to what we have now in 2020. So select the points on the map. You can tap and hold and select the key in polyline now. From the menu, select key in polylines. So before you had your point range 1, 3, for instance, we use 1, 3, 5 through 10, and stores an alignment. You can store the alignment name, string name, and what have you. Here, it's just you're naming it as a polyline. You could give it a code if you wanted to, a start station, station interval. Like I say, it's virtually the same thing. To offset a polyline, select the points or line from the map, tap and hold, and then select offset polyline. Again, you can go vertical or horizontal. To set out the invert of an IFC pipe, first use compute centerline and then offset polyline, and then stake out that polyline. Stake out polyline. So stake out polyline from stakeout menu or from the map. The same stakeout method for a polyline as a line. To the line or to the polyline, station on the polyline, station offset from polyline, slope from polyline, station skew offset from polyline, and now you can go distance along a polyline. Again, for those vertical polylines. So here is staking polylines. It actually shows on the right-hand side the polylines that you select that you can stake out. Then you could store those set polylines as a road if you wanted to. And staking mixed entities from the map. So in 2019, if you selected a point and a line and selected a stake and selected stake out, it would create an alignment for those entities. Now they add everything to the list that you have selected and in the order that you select it. So for example, here you have a line, a point, a line, an object, a line, and a point. That's the way that those were selected. So that's the way it's going to be laid out. In 2019, you would have got something that looked like this. Not too clear. Project subfolders is a huge change. There's a lot of, we've personally had a lot of customers contact us to see if there was a way to go back to the old folder structure, similar to a TSC3. And at that time there was not, but they finally put that back into this here. So now you're able to create projects underneath folders underneath projects, and then access them through Trimble Sync Manager or Trimble Access. folders created in Trimble Sync Manager are downloaded with the project to Trimble Access. Folders created in Trimble Access are synced to Trimble Sync Manager, but the project must originate in Sync Manager. The combined length of the project name is 100 characters. We shouldn't have an issue with that. To move a job in Trimble Access, use the copy function in Trimble Access and then delete the original job. You don't want to cut the job and then try and paste it. You could run into a lot of headaches that way. So your folder structure screen will look like this. You have your project, and then you create a new folder. As you can see there, we have 3 folders, and then on the right-hand side, it shows you what's inside each subfolder. So we can create a new folder. We can go up a folder if we need to. And again, you can select your folder that you want to put the information into, and there's your content of folder. And this is what it looks like on Sync Manager. Again, you could create your folders there in Sync Manager and put your files in there. Edit measure code enhancements. New full screen edit measure code screen makes setup easier for adding and changing codes, reordering code buttons, and deleting code buttons. Setting the number of code buttons per group. You can have 25, you could have 9, you could have 12, and those are all assigned per group. So you don't have to, if you have a default of 9, you don't have to carry all 9 boxes through all of your screens. Setting up the numbering for code buttons per group, like I said, you could do that. Setting up a template for template pickup for cross sections and roadways and whatnot, sites, different sites. And when using template, unused buttons can be used for additional codes. You have 7 buttons assigned for a cross section pickup, and use 2 spare buttons to measure nearby manholes, storm grates, or what have you. So again, here's what that will look like. So this is a 4x3 zigzag pattern template cross section for a road. And again, you have boxes open to add additional codes. Single tap to measure. So clear single tap to measure if using a tablet and you need to edit the line strength frequently. So under the code option, single tap for measurement, if you're using a TFC7, I believe you want it to be toggled on. Anything else, you want it to be toggled off. So then you could just go to that box and select it and have the measure code. We'll get more of a video on that one later on when this actually gets released. Configuration or configuring next point name. New jobs previously continued the naming from the last job. You can now configure to continue naming from the last job or define new names in the template. So the way it used to be is if you went out and measured a control point, you started at 1. That would be at 1. But if you switch to topo point, it would go to what you last used in your last job. So it might be 342. Well, typically you might want those to run consecutively. The same way with rapid points, those might change. Those might be set higher. But basically, this is saying that you could set those to what you want now, which is a huge, huge advancement. To use the same point name thread for different types, for example, topo points, rapid points, set the next point names for both measure points and rapid points to the same. So if you want those, so just set them to 1 if you just want them to all run together. Storing attributes when staking points. You can now review and store design attributes from an IFC, DXF, shapefile, and land XML with as stake points. To store design file attributes when staking from an IFC, DXF, shape, or land XML file, set the as stake code to design file attributes. Create point from the map also stores the attributes as well. The attributes are in the job and JXL, but are not yet into TBC. Hopefully this comes out in the 540 release. Map enhancements, they have rotated georeference images are now supported. Grayscale background images are now supported. Before, that had to be a 24-bit color. Exploding polylines named in TBC now have unique names. Displaying labels for DXF, shape, and land XML files. Displaying station values for land XML roads. And hatching in DXF files. Unnecessary map redraw, so it's not redrawn as much. And then lighting effects for IFC models. Selected entity highlighted during review. Calculated resection position preview in the map. So before you store it, you can actually view it to make sure that it does look right. Copying COCO points into a job after store. Check coordinate warnings when adding points or a map file that is a long way from existing data. And keying in points from plan view, elevation field is set to null. And keying in points from a 3D view, elevation is calculated from the ground plane or IFC file. Keying in multiple points, grabbing coordinates from the map. Let's see, improved surface display controls. So surface display control for a road is separate from TTM, a DXF, or land XML. For the road, the options are color gradient, shaded, or outlined, which is basically just a line around the outside of the edge of the surface with no shading, which is a lot easier to read in the middle where your surface would be. For TTM, DXF, and land XML surfaces, there are, again, color gradient shaded. You'll see the triangles, color gradient plus triangles if you want, and again, the outline. Favors and functions. Menu can now be made to a function shortcut key, useful for T10 users. Map settings can now be made a favorite. Auto lock, find lock, and long range find lock can now be individually made function keys. You can now scan for Bluetooth devices from within Trimble Access, so you do not have to go to Windows to pair it. You can do it all right there inside Trimble Access. And measure RTK points using 2 independent subsets of tracked satellites. In RTK surveys, you can now measure points with independent subsets of the currently tracked GNSS satellite constellations. You can take 2 consecutive independent measurements without having to revisit the point the next day or the next afternoon or whatever. The SV subset function divides all tracked SVs into 2 subsets with an even spread throughout the sky. The SV subset function is available from the satellite screen or the RTK initialization screen. You can show all SVs set A or SVs set B. GNSS signal in net messages. In RTK and RTX surveys, you can now change the signal tracking of the entire constellation from the satellite screen. You can just tap up the satellite icon, then options, and set checkbox to GNSS signal tracking group box. Galileo signal tracking is enabled by default now. No longer show RTK initialized and RTK non-initialized messages in the status line or review when using HD GNSS or ProPoint GNSS technology. leaves precision values clear and visible. RTK initialization records remain embedded in the job file, can be reviewed in JXL. Precision display, you can choose the confidence level for the display of GNSS precision estimates. Historically, Trimble Access always displayed DRMS for horizontal precision and 1 sigma for vertical precision. Now you can choose from 1 sigma horizontal vertical, DRMS for horizontal and 1 sigma for vertical, 95% horizontal and vertical, and 99% horizontal and vertical. You can configure this underneath the settings from units of the job properties. And that's what it would look like. Inclined plane adjustments. When performing a site calibration, you now fit an inclined plane only when you have 3 or more points. If you have 1 or 2 points, then the software calculates just constant adjustment. Previous versions would fit an inclined plane to 2 or more points and only calculate a constant adjustment if you had a single point. Land XML string roads. Land XML string roads are now supported in Trimble Access roads. It can be defined by an alignment with break lines and alignment with irregular lines. Files of this type can be exported by various software packages, including TBC, break lines only, Tekla sellable break lines and irregular lines, Trimble Nova Point, which is break lines and irregular lines, and various software packages from third-party vendors like Leica or Carlson. Land XML string roads are supported in their native LandMXL format, unlike Land XML cross-section roads, which are converted to Trimble RXL roads. So Land XML string roads, number of advantages. There's no need to select the strings to define the road, as the road definition is complete and ready for review and stakeout. String names are not limited to 4 characters. Land XML files can include more than 1 surface. Support for Land XML string files is better when exporting from TBC and when displaying files for staking with Trimble Access. The traditional Land XML string format does not support side slopes. They have extended the Land XML format to include side slope support. Land XML string files exported from TBC will have the side slopes defined. Again, side slopes can also be defined or modified in roads. So you can also edit the road definition to exclude the centerline if required. So to export Land XML string from TBC, you have to have at least 5.3, and then the export pane from corridor as the export type. Select the Trimble Access road strings file format and set the output file to Land XML. If you're happy using the Trimble RXL and the Geno formats, go ahead and keep using them. If you have more complicated road design, though, the Land XML string format would be a better solution for you. And then they do have some minor limitations when compared to Trimble RXL Geno roads. RXL roads support full editing of the road as well as additional features such as additional points and strings. Geno supports new string creation. However, if these are not features you use, Land XML string roads may be the better solution. And then here's some issues that are between the Land XML on top versus the Geno and RXL on the bottom. So your start and stopping points, you might run and see some errors there. Global reference datum enhancements. So in 2020, the improved shows improved global reference datum information, whereas previous versions of the software used the term WGS84 to refer to coordinates in the job's global reference frame. They've renamed WGS84 to global. This does not affect your workflow of future jobs, past jobs, nothing, when you're doing RTK work. The reason for these changes are to make it clear which coordinate system positions are provided in, global consistent with TBC, and recognize the evolution of reference frames for high precision measurements driven largely by advances in GNSS technology. Further details will be in the release notes. And then finally, Trimble Access Job File Converter. So if you have 2017, 2018, you'll need to convert those jobs up. So you could do that through TIM, which is Trimble Installation Manager, or go to the Trimble Access Support Downloads page. Again, and even if you're going from a TSC 3 to Trimble Access 2020 now, there's an online converter tool for your jobs as well. So that concludes the video for today. It's a long one. We're at 26 minutes. So again, this is going to be dropping in the next, if not hours, days. And if you have any questions, please email me, call me, text me, whatever's easiest for you. I hope you look forward to using Trimble Access 2020. Thank you.